journey of inner transformation. Let us take a comfortable position. If you want, you can lay down. Delving into our inner selves by taking a couple of breaths, taking our time to breathe in and to breathe out. Breathing out a bit longer, flowing with it. Now more consciously, being aware of ourselves, of our sensations. Feeling how further we sink into us by following our own inner rhythm. It is the breath itself that opens the space to underlying layers, and we just fall into them. We go deeper now and become heavier as we go through forgotten, through abandoned inner spaces. We breathe into the spaces, feeling them from inside, accepting everything. In this we surrender to the heaviness, admitting the strain that normally goes unperceived. From this point, we can bring that feeling back of disturbance, physically, mentally, emotionally. It has been there for so long. Hidden, partly repressed, partly numb, mostly undefined, and hardly perceptible, underneath thick layers. We reconnect even deeper with all uncomfortable feelings, and we stay there. And we can sense all inner reactions of rejection, of protection, trying to look for ways to avoid. How difficult is it to bear on all levels? And we do not interfere. All we want is to understand us. All this mostly happens subconsciously. This time, we are aware. We are all consciously staying there, feeling it all, feeling all that, exactly that, which is not okay. And we accept it now, the way it is. The pain, the narrowness, under pressure, without space, in the almost unbearable. Observing the breath. Is it short? Is it brief? Is it all superficial or fast? Maybe exhausting, heavy, only in a particular spot, like the solar plexus or the chest. When we aren't within our bodies, we are not in our strength. We are in subconscious avoidance, holding back the breath, feeling stuck, feeling all blocked inside. the more we become aware of this, the more able we are to connect with something own, very own, however this is. Accepting however we feel inside, we slowly come into inner places far away from the world outside. Allowing the body to show itself the way it felt when we were heard for the first time. Feeling of weariness, of sadness may emerge as we become aware of how we live in exhaustion, second by second, over the span of years, in the most inner exertion and highest strain. How do we contract? How do we breathe through this knot of repressed energy? What kind of energy is it? Grief, rage, fear, shame, madness, distortion, frozen emotions, collapse. Am I aware of the rest of my body? And if not, how does that feel like? Which is not bound to our energy and attention. Become aware of this restrained energy force, the desperation of not being able to bring it out, unable to figure out how to channel it out. In doing so, we give ourselves support by expanding breathing even more through the chest, through the belly, and into the abdomen. Opening and creating more space, understand that it hasn't been a question of being willing or unwilling for quite some time anymore. We are just no longer able to find the door to this enclosed power to localize it, to release the energy, because we have lost contact to it. We need to reconnect. We need to become aware of our most hidden vulnerability and surrender and sink into it. Feeling the collapsed soul, we need to relearn the language of the body, going into the deepest abyss of the wounded parts inside ourselves. Perceiving how the epicenter of this blocked energy is integrated and interwoven with the body, linked through inner energetic cords, and how the tension is kept inside. How we exist within this tension and how it distorts our thinking, our authentic way of feeling, our reality, our organs, our spontaneity, and our natural movements. What a rigid, tense framework is holding back our freedom, our emotions, our expansion. Love, dignity, self-determination, personal responsibility, directed movements. Do they correspond with our being? Words? Do they express our reality and our essence? Feeling, is it in harmony with our authentic existence? Do we still have a vague feeling of who we truly are and what we want in this life? Are we loving with our being and our energy, this transparent vessel for godly, universal power that manifests in us, that is ourselves? Are we being mindful and appreciative with it? Are we handling it with dignity, or do we just take ourselves for the circumstances we are in, for a densified fleshlight full of suppressed, negative emotions, shameful needs, and deficient in every way? Do we think of ourselves as too little, too incapable, and simply not enough? How horrible and degrading are we subconsciously handling ourselves? Maybe we can admit that from the very beginning on, and not consciously at all, we are the ones who have enforced all negative beliefs about how we are, defending those who hurt us so much. As we continue pleasing them, we rather stopped loving ourselves, stopped respecting ourselves, our space, hiding with shame and full of self-judgment, our alleged weakness. The way we frantically try to live up to our ideals, to an illusion, despising what we are, how much we cheat ourselves, going more and more astray, lost. We can now deeply learn to understand all of that on the most honest level of compassion, of self-respect, of self-love, unfolding its origin, the moment or situation when it started, on all levels, the price we paid to survive. What has this tension done to us on the inside and outside, then and now? And when did we start to pretend, to hold back in cowardice and unreasonable so, not showing love, not expressing needs, holding back questions and avoiding conflicts? When did we start to choke on our words and feelings? We can take all the time to truly empathize long enough without any judgment, feeling and seeing that behind every tension and alteration there is a deep naked fear of being inadequate and to be seen as such. The fear of being too much, of being rejected, of having too much energy or power and not be desired that way, of being too weak or too sensitive and to be humiliated and judged for it. Now, carefully get in tune with your tissue, your muscles and breath, and feel how deformed, twisted, sticky it has become. How certain breath patterns, thought patterns, and emotional patterns are synthetically created through it, manifesting themselves energetically and also physical. Take the time to explore inside, assimilating the way our own body initially opposed, resisted, and neglected all these painful emotions. How it covered, isolated and tied all those reprehensible feelings. We can focus now on sensing what this blockage is doing to us, not just to that one single spot, but on the entire body. We can admit to ourselves that it is the initial feeling of fear that we are trying to avoid at any price. And slowly we come to understand that a physical blockage was built throughout this process, behind which very often lies a very deep judgment, devaluation, degradation, the feeling of being the last one left behind. We delve deeply with that feeling, and it might take some time now to open our heart for the part in ourselves that has been confronted with this for the very first time. If we cannot be compassionate and warm-hearted towards us, we would then notice how instead we are extremely strict, cold, and rejecting ourselves. It has been a survival strategy to be able to pass in one's own family and in front of the world. Where does this attitude come from? And whom do we mimic in this structure? Mother, father? Who was that important, more important than our own life? Important enough for us to sacrifice ourselves, to give ourselves up, to create our burning hell inside, to betray our dignity. Paying with our own heart. In whose face did we smile when we truly wanted to cry? And whom did we sacrifice our truth and our freedom for? We do not judge. We just watch. Who destroyed our innocence, our self-esteem, and our dreams? What kind of life have we led, and how did we live it? In inner conflict, under continuous pressure. Can we respect ourselves, love ourselves like that? Slowly, we let go of the entire body and allow the breath to go deeper, especially the exhale. We surrender innerly. We let everything as it is. We notice the rigid structure inside. We feel the interconnections and follow the strand of tension. Then slowly we loosen all tension, melting down resistance, melting down negation. We feel how sudden reflexes tend to go back into the old pattern, into control, and into denial. We can again perceive the old rigidness going directly into the tension point, witnessing the reflex of pure avoidance. We admit and comprehend the very source of our fear. Avoiding what? Covering what? Get to know it, becoming aware and attentive of it. Learn to feel the moment it sets. Learn to embrace the truth, going immediately into acceptance and trusting everything to a higher entity. We do no more, avoid anything more. We don't idealize, alter, or wish for anything else anymore. We don't take any suitable action. It is the way it is. We can't do anything. We don't have to do anything. It just so happens. It just happens. It has nothing to do with us. By breathing in and out, we admit it all with inner transparency, allowing ourselves, allowing our body to feel light and permeable. Everything may come and everything may go. We hold on anything. We don't identify ourselves with anything. We are not that. It happened. It just happened. It may come. It may go. We can breathe it in. We can breathe it out. We just breathe. Breathe. Silence.